The eye of life and death on Luo Feng's brow opened. This complete bloodline burning with black flames appeared multi-layered in his observation, with countless secret patterns interwoven in each layer. Ultimately, these layers fused perfectly into a whole, forming a bloodline that was born to leap beyond the braided cage. Such an integration, and it can leap out of the braided cage. Luo Feng was dazzled. Merely a low-level primordial bloodline of the early-stage Divine Emperor had revealed the secret to leaping beyond the braided cage before Luo Feng's eyes. The supplemental schemes I conceived before are full of flaws. Back on Earth, my homeland often said, "Learn from the nature of heaven and earth." Now, as I comprehend the primordial biological bloodline nurtured by nature, it seems like another form of learning from heaven and earth. Luo Feng's heart was devout. Let alone the complete fusion of life and death, even just the integration methods are varied. I need to refine them one by one. Luo Feng immersed himself in it. The first integration method, the second integration method. The complete refinement of each method was immensely difficult. It required understanding the essence of their bonding from countless secret patterns before ultimately distilling a universally applicable integration method. During his comprehension, Luo Feng also consumed auxiliary cultivation treasures that significantly enhanced his speed of cognitive processes. After all, for a Divine Emperor-level mind, delving into the mysteries of leaping beyond the braided cage was still quite strenuous. Even then, it took Luo Feng more than one epoch to fully comprehend the Nirvana Fire Tribulation Snake bloodline of the early-stage Divine Emperor. Although I distilled numerous life and death integration methods, I still lack the fundamental perfect union. Luo Feng thought to himself, countless integration methods must achieve perfect union to truly leap beyond the braided cage. This is the weakest life form to leap beyond the braided cage. Luo Feng sighed inwardly, I can't even grasp its essence. Among the innate primordial lives, the early-stage Divine Emperor level is indeed the weakest. This one bloodline has already taught me so much. Luo Feng was quite content. From merely the weakest bloodline, he had managed to distill a full 19 life and death integration methods. If these integration methods were applied to his life and death Tao, his strength would naturally see significant improvement. No rush to fuse them into the life and death Tao. Let me accumulate first. The second bloodline, the Ghost Hunter bloodline of the early-stage Divine Emperor, I had previously supplemented its fragmented materials according to 12 disconnected schemes, but those schemes were noticeably flawed. Luo Feng pondered. Using the newly comprehended 19 life and death integration methods as a basis, Luo Feng began revising and supplementing. It took him a full 1,000,000 days before Luo Feng was satisfied with the newly completed scheme. Only then did he begin examining the early-stage Divine Emperor Ghost Hunter bloodline with his eye of life and death. About 60 to 70% similarity. Luo Feng's face lit up with joy, compared to the crudeness and flaws of the first bloodline's supplementation. The second bloodline's supplementation already showed the embryonic form of a perfect answer. The direction is right. Luo Feng grew more and more encouraged, scrutinizing the Ghost Hunter bloodline in deeper detail. With an ample supply of cultivation resources, Luo Feng felt himself making constant progress. At this moment, the only factor hampering his cultivation speed was his own rate of comprehension. Even a Divine Emperor-level thought process seemed insufficiently fast. If it were high-level primordial life, their comprehension speed might be tens of thousands of times faster than his. Take it slow. If the speed is slow, simply spend more time. At this moment, Luo Feng felt an increasing sense of gratitude toward Yuan Xiong Palace Master, whose 50 billion primordial crystals were proving immensely helpful. Perhaps Yuan Xiong Palace Master had carefully considered this before gifting such a fortune. This sum was more than enough for a Divine Emperor to achieve a wealthy cultivation, provided there were no extravagant expenditures. Luo Feng's gaze swept over the bloodlines arranged nearby. Early-stage Divine Emperor bloodlines totaled 323. Middle-stage Divine Emperor bloodlines totaled 257. Late-stage Divine Emperor bloodlines totaled 152. Though these first three types appeared abundant, Luo Feng's wealth allowed him to afford them with ease. They cost a total of 8.3 billion primordial crystals. 36 perfection-level Divine Emperor bloodlines were purchased, costing 19.2 billion primordial crystals. These bloodlines were Luo Feng's greatest focus, as they represented low-level primordial lives who had pushed their own bloodlines to their ultimate limits, vividly showcasing the mysteries of bloodlines. Given the rarity of low-level primordial lives embodying both life and death at the Divine Emperor Perfection level in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, these bloodlines were scarce. Elder Shinji specifically sourced and delivered a batch from the Dark Sacred Realm. Each bloodline was accompanied by over 10 sets of matching materials. This time, Luo Feng also bought some missing materials, spending a hefty sum. Including the bloodlines, the total expenditure reached 28.3 billion primordial crystals. This was still significantly discounted by Elder Shinji. Fortunately, a low-level primordial life corpse can yield a significant number of bloodlines, and the price remains within an acceptable range. Luo Feng thought. On the land of origin, those primordial bloodline creatures cultivated by the Tenacian's ancestors were far from entities capable of leaping beyond the braided cage. In aspects such as vitality, they remained markedly inferior. Moreover, the nation's ancestor-level bloodline refinement techniques were quite rudimentary, often extracting only a few bloodlines from a single creature. But in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, the utilization of a low-level primordial life corpse was pushed to its limits. Any waste equated to losing primordial crystals. Simply extracting blood from the entire body could yield 10 or more complete bloodlines. Significant skeletal structures, hooves, and claws could further be utilized for artifact refining, alchemy, or even puppet crafting. Whether in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm or the Dark Sacred Realm, there are too many strong entities, and the competition for trade is brutally fierce. Every technique is refined to near perfection. The largest cost of selling various treasures is the material cost. Luo Feng reflected to himself, a weapon at the Divine Emperor Perfection level, if it was a common piece requiring less material, could be purchased for merely 1 million primordial crystals. A more complex Divine Emperor Perfection level battleship might cost 2 to 3 million primordial crystals. It's only the large-scale, movable formations priced typically above 5 million primordial crystals. In the Dark Sacred Realm, half-primordial level enlightened ones are numerous. Such weapon secret treasures rarely fetch exorbitant prices. Luo Feng thought. Truly rare items, such as those exchanged from the Infinite Space Treasure Vault, like the Undying Heart, were exceptionally precious. The materials of world-level primordial lives couldn't be hunted, and each piece was tremendously expensive. As for treasures exchanged from Infinite Space valued over 10,000 reward points, they were always aids for leaping beyond the braided cage like the Eye of Life and Death. The quantity refined by Senior Yuan and others was strictly limited. Each one was priceless and even prohibited from being taken out of the source world. If a cultivator died, such treasures would always be reclaimed by Infinite Space. For example, the Eye of Life and Death had already passed through the hands of many previous users. Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, Yuan City. Within a grand cave mansion, a massive spherical creature was coiled. The surface of the spherical creature intermittently manifested faces: resentful, frenzied, slumbering, laughing, indifferent. Various expressions emanated their influences over the surrounding area. Although low-level primordial lives often infiltrated the city, no intruder had ever dared to approach this colossal lair. This was the insect nest. A peculiar and eerie life form, its mere existence rivaled the power of 3 hall masters. The insect nest's surface was riddled with countless holes, with cultivators frequently flying in and out. At the core of the insect nest, Master, over the past epoch, our elixir sales have dropped by nearly half. An elderly man spoke respectfully. How could sales decline so drastically? A graceful and beautiful woman sat there, mildly surprised. Through her long cultivation journey, her resources came from multiple sources, including the operations, thefts, and raids conducted across her insect nest's sphere of influence. Naturally, all income retained a share for the insect nest master. Merely elixir sales for just an epoch were inconsequential to her. But if this trend persisted, it would be frustrating. The Dan Tower has massively increased output during the last epoch. Their elixirs of the same tier are slightly cheaper than ours. Some factions in the city have directly shifted to bulk purchases from the Dan Tower, causing our sales to drop. The elder reported. Chongqing building owner is this bold. The woman was astonished. Who gave him such courage during your closed-door cultivation? Yuan City welcomed a newly ascended elder-level powerhouse named Luo Feng. He's already joined the Dan Tower, the elder informed. The woman nodded faintly, then began reviewing the latest intelligence on Yuan City. After reading through the reports, she understood the situation. A newly ascended powerhouse, capable of suppressing Chehi. Her gaze turned cold. Though aware of the conflict between Dan Tower and me, he dares to meddle. Simply continue normal sales. Other matters don't concern you? She instructed. You may leave. Understood. The elder obeyed and retreated. The woman sat quietly, gazing toward the direction of the Dan Tower. The city isn't suitable for open action. Let the spiritual avatar meet this Luo Feng divine emperor. She remained seated, yet from the vast insect nest, an imperceptible stream of spiritual power emerged. Once the spiritual stream left, the surface of the insect nest regained its calm, no longer manifesting faces. HMPH. The spiritual power condensed into the woman's likeness, moving through Yuan City's skies. In her ordinary state, she remained undetectable to others. Yuan City's multicolored layers of defense systems swept over the woman's avatar. It's the insect nest master. Why would she dispatch a spiritual avatar? Among the 3 elder-controlled defense systems, her presence was noted, but they refrained from intervention. After all, the insect nest master was an elder of Yuan City, and her avatar's activity within the city was entirely legitimate. Arrived. In mere moments, the insect nest master's spiritual avatar reached the entrance of the Dan Tower. She raised her head to observe the sprawling complex. Within the Dan Tower complex resided 2 elder-level individuals, the Chongqing building owner and, naturally, Luo Feng. Luo Feng was currently attuned to the formations he deployed across the Dan Tower. These 36 layers of life and death formations were refined by various senior cultivators who each possess unique achievements in the art of life and death integration. Luo Feng considered. Previously, some aspects eluded me, but after comprehending primordial bloodlines, I now understand them better. Luo Feng reflected. Some elements within these formations even appear clunky and rudimentary. Though these seniors had other opportunities, none possessed the eye of life and death. Even if they bought primordial bloodlines, they couldn't observe their complete structure, they could only view fragments and infer from them. Luo Feng abruptly sensed an eerie and chilling pulse, faint yet dauntingly terrifying through mere contact. His Lai Yuan technique, constantly active, automatically shielded against the cold intrusion. Who's there? With a single thought, Luo Feng increased the power of the 36 formation layers while also activating his biomimetic destruction eye. He then spotted a spiritual womanly figure standing at the entrance of the Dan Tower's main building.